Find a couple of things in this slide. You're looking at a picture of Mars taken at different oppositions. Okay, what does opposition mean? Let's go back to this slide. When the Sun, the Earth, and any superior planet line up in a straight line, syzygy, right? That's called opposition. And this is when the superior planet is going to appear largest and brightest in the night sky for an Earth observer and is generally the best placed for observing. Okay, so this is a series of pictures of Mars at opposition. But you'll notice that, well, first of all, we're looking at different sides of Mars. That makes sense because Mars is constantly rotating. But what also jumps out at you is that Mars has different sizes, and that seems a bit odd. Shouldn't Mars always be about the same size in the sky? The answer is, of course, it isn't, and here's the reason it isn't. When the Sun, the Earth, and Mars all line up in this direction, when Mars is at perihelion, when Mars is closest to the Sun, that's when Mars appears the brightest. In other words, that's when Mars is closest to the Earth. That's going to correspond to this picture right here from 2003, right? When the Sun, the Earth, and Mars all line up, in other words, during an opposition, when Mars is near aphelion, its furthest distance from the Sun and its furthest distance from the Earth, that's when Mars appears the smallest, like here in 1995. This is called an aphelic opposition, right? An opposition that happens when Mars is furthest from the Earth. This one is called a perihelic opposition, an opposition that occurs when Mars is closest to the Earth. And we're able to anticipate when these are happening. I recall in 2003 there was quite a marketing campaign for companies and even individuals selling telescopes in the lead up to this opposition. I don't recall when the next when the next perihelic opposition is going to be off the top of my head, but I think it's going to be some time because this was made into quite a big deal. If you're a planetary observer and you take your job fairly seriously, the difference between 1995 and 2003 is significant. If you're a very casual observer, you probably don't care as much. From this, you should understand what an opposition is. You should understand the difference between an aphelic and a perihelic opposition. You should be able to describe why the aphelic oppositions appear smaller and why the perihelic oppositions appear larger.